Notice: this is the second part video of the 10 best states to start a business in 2023. If you haven't seen part 1 of this video, click the info card and check it out now. Let's continue. 10 best state to start a business in 2023. Number 6. California, best state for innovation. Pros of starting a business in California. Starting a business in California can be a great opportunity for entrepreneurs. But there are pros and cons to consider before taking the plunge. The good news is that California offers natural advantages for businesses, including access to venture capital, an innovative and highly skilled workforce, and the second highest rate of new businesses formed in the country. With such attractive perks, it's no wonder why 53 Fortune 500 companies have based their headquarters in the state. Despite higher costs, business owners have a few incentives at their disposal that may help to offset the cost of doing business in California. For example, qualifying businesses may be eligible for job creation credits or domestic production activities deductions. It's also worth noting that while California has one of the highest rates of new entrepreneur formation, it also has one of the highest rates of small business survival after its first year, 82.56%. This is likely due to the amount of venture capital available here. In 2021, nearly $27 billion was invested in 2,869 businesses. This statistic should give entrepreneurs some peace of mind when deciding on launching a venture within the Golden State. Cons of starting a business in California. Starting a business in California has its downsides. California has some of the highest costs associated with doing business in the U.S. This includes corporate taxes at 8.84%, as well as high personal income tax rates ranging from 1% to 12.3%. It is important to keep these costs in mind when running the numbers of your business plan. Number 7. Oklahoma, best state for cost of doing business. Pros of starting a business in Oklahoma. Deciding to start a business in Oklahoma has many benefits, and if you're looking for an ideal place to start your business journey, the Sooner State might be just the right fit. The state of Oklahoma is known for having one of the most business-friendly climates in the country, making it a fantastic option for entrepreneurs looking for a great place to launch their ventures. One of the first advantages of starting a business in Oklahoma is its low cost of doing business. Businesses in the state have some of the lowest operational costs from taxes to insurance in the entire U.S. This can provide startups with valuable resources to make sure they get off to a strong start. Another significant advantage of setting up a shop in Oklahoma is its high business survival rate. Almost 82% of all new businesses survive their first year, and close to 50% survive for 5 years. It's also worth noting that the ratio of entrepreneurs to the population in Oklahoma is higher than the national average. This may suggest that more people are finding success in launching their businesses there. Finally, Oklahoma has some key infrastructure in place to help encourage entrepreneurs, including several small business organizations, tax incentives, and government programs that offer education and advice to budding business owners. All this creates a friendly and welcoming environment which makes starting a business much easier. Cons of starting a business in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a great place to start a business, but it has its drawbacks that entrepreneurs should consider. The state has the longest average workweek in the U.S., meaning employees work more hours for lower wages. This can make it harder to attract and motivate skilled workers, leading to a less skilled workforce overall. Additionally, consumer spending in Oklahoma is one of the lowest in the U.S., which means there are fewer opportunities for businesses to reach customers. Finally, while venture capital is available, the low population density and lack of regional identity make it difficult for startups to generate interest from outside sources. Despite these drawbacks, Oklahoma remains one of the top states for starting a business due to its relatively low operating costs, tax breaks, and access to resources. Business owners should approach each decision with an informed perspective in order to make the most of the opportunities this state can provide. Number 8. North Carolina, best state for starting a limited liability company. Pros of starting a business in North Carolina. North Carolina offers entrepreneurs a great selection of opportunities to get started on the right foot, with a wide range of support services and incentives ready to help set up shop. Businesses in North Carolina are subject to a low corporate income tax rate of 2.5%, one of the lowest in the country, which is gradually being phased out as part of a more significant trend toward economic growth. The individual income tax rate stands at 5.25%, but compared to other states it's still relatively low. Add to that the state's property tax rate of 0.91%, significantly lower than the national average. You can see why North Carolina is attractive for businesses looking to invest in real estate. With over 5 million working adults, many of whom have an above-average salary of $54,005 and an unemployment rate of just 3.4%. North Carolina is well placed regarding labor supply. Plus, with the cost of living lower than the U.S. average, running costs should be lower too, making it easier for new startups and small businesses to succeed. And with only $125 needed to incorporate your company, there's no reason why business owners shouldn't take advantage of this great environment. Cons of starting a business in North Carolina. One of the major cons of starting a business in North Carolina is its lack of public transportation. Those without a car might find it especially difficult to get around, as many cities and towns lack reliable options such as subway systems or extensive bus routes. North Carolina also falls within a hurricane zone and experiences an average of 1 hurricane every 3 years. Many areas are also vulnerable to tornadoes, flooding, and severe storms. When natural disasters occur, they can severely disrupt public services such as power and transportation. Properties in coastal areas carry a higher risk of damage from hurricanes and flooding, so it is vital for those looking to purchase a home in North Carolina to have adequate insurance coverage and natural disaster safety protocols in place. Traffic in North Carolina's urban centers like Charlotte and Raleigh can be problematic and congested. Additionally, the condition of roads and infrastructure across the state is poor, ranking among the worst in the country. Potholes and other road damage are common. While some areas like the Research Triangle boast well-maintained roads, others like Charlotte need much improvement. The climate in North Carolina can be unpredictable. From early morning chills to a hot afternoon to scattered thunderstorms throughout any given day, it pays to be prepared with various clothing styles, including during spring, when deadly tornadoes sometimes strike. Number 9. Delaware. Best state for your privacy protection. Pros of starting a business in Delaware. Delaware has become the de facto destination of choice for entrepreneurs and businesses when it comes to incorporating. With no income taxes on corporations registered in Delaware that don't do business in the state, Delaware offers some key advantages to entrepreneurs. Firstly, LLCs registered in Delaware are not required to provide member names or addresses in their public filings, protecting your personal information from public disclosure. The Delaware Division of Corporations reports that 66.8% of Fortune 500 companies are incorporated in the state and that approximately 1.8 million corporations have registered in Delaware. These figures emphasize Delaware's status as a premier destination for large businesses seeking to capitalize on the legal and tax benefits provided by incorporation in the state. Delaware also offers asset protection from lawsuits. If a party takes legal action against you, Delaware law will protect your assets from being seized. In addition, the first state does not impose any sales taxes, making it a more cost-effective choice for entrepreneurs. Furthermore, Delaware's Court of Chancery is exclusively devoted to corporation cases, meaning there is a fast turnaround time for filings and decisions. And as an added bonus, Delaware will process same-day filings. Cons of starting a business in Delaware. One of the main drawbacks of setting up a business in Delaware is the high corporate and individual income tax rates. The corporate tax rate is 8.7% and the individual income tax rate is 6.6%. Despite having one of the strongest state economies in the United States, Delaware does not offer much else as an incentive to locate a business there. Nevertheless, Delaware might still be your top choice if you prioritize asset protection and privacy. An additional disadvantage when forming an LLC in Delaware is the yearly $300 LLC tax that must be paid. Dual registration may be necessary for businesses that do not operate solely in Delaware, but also in another state, such as their home state. This means filing paperwork, paying fees, and completing other requirements twice, resulting in added complexity and cost. The tax advantages that make Delaware attractive to investors can rarely benefit small or medium businesses. Small businesses are defined as having fewer than 1,500 employees and annual revenues of less than $21.5 million. Therefore, if you don't fall into these criteria, it may be harder to reap the benefits of incorporating in Delaware. Number 10. Idaho, best state for real estate. Pros of starting a business in Idaho. Idaho is the perfect place to start a business. It's one of the most business-friendly states in the country, with a low risk of natural disasters, ample supply of skilled labor, good infrastructure, and a regulatory environment that isn't too strict. Taxes are also kept low, with both personal and corporate income tax rates of 6.93%. Additionally, the cost of doing business is slightly higher than in other states, putting Idaho on the lower end of the list. The state is also known for its strong economy and real estate sector, making it an ideal home for any new business looking for a safe physical environment with vast untapped potential. Idaho is also one of the fastest-growing states in the U.S., offering newcomers an excellent opportunity to succeed in their chosen field of business. When starting a business in Idaho, you can be sure of a warm welcome from the local community and access to useful resources such as business mentorship programs, funding opportunities, and tax exemptions available to entrepreneurs. With everything in its favor, there is no better time than now to launch your next big venture in the Gem State. Cons of starting a business in Idaho. Idaho is one of the fastest-growing states and offers a healthy supply of skilled labor, good infrastructure, and the regulatory environment isn't too strict. When it comes to taxes, both personal and corporate income tax rates are 6.93%. The cost of doing business is also a bit higher, placing Idaho toward the lower end of our list. Conclusion. Starting a business involves countless considerations, and location is just one factor, and there's no one-size-fits-all answer for where entrepreneurs should set up a business. However, by understanding the local tax rates, access to financial resources, and other key factors of various states across the country, business owners may have more tremendous success in getting their businesses off the ground. With the right tools, dedication, and an eye for the details, anyone can start their own business today. I hope you found this video useful and informative. Please give us a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe, because more incredible content is on the way. Thanks for watching.